CareSource Radio Network. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. We hope you enjoyed that win by the Indiana Hoosiers. It delayed us here by about 40 minutes on the start of the Gun Guy Show. But, hey, the Hoosiers Basketball Network, they get a lot of listeners. They bring a lot of attention to WIBC, and I certainly understand why we do it the way we do it. But we hope you hung around, and if you're a listener of the Gun Guy Show, we hope you exercise the patience to be here with us now. By the way, I believe, and producer Jack can correct me on this, I believe we have our phones fixed. I talked to the engineering department all this last week. If you remember last week, and we're a call-in show, man, that's why I think a lot of people like to participate in and listen to the Gun Guy Show, is because people will call in and ask questions or make comments, and to a large degree that controls our content here on the Gun Guy Show. And last week, and this came out when I was doing Hammer and Nigel show, and I was doing Delphi coverage and all of that the last couple of weeks, that our phones were a little jacked here in the studio, but I believe we have that fixed. So if you tried to call the last couple of weeks and couldn't get through, man, give us a call, 317-239-9393. I don't care what it's about. If you're frustrated because you couldn't get through, listen, I empathized. And we're not necessarily dealing with cutting edge technology here in the WIBC studios, but we do the best we can. But if you couldn't get through, you had a question, you had a comment, give us a call, 317-239-9393. But hey, it's a pretty good time here in America to be an advocate for Second Amendment rights. Why? Because obviously President Trump won the presidential election here not so long ago, a few days ago, and Republicans took over the Senate, and Republicans took over the House, well, maintained control of the House. And so that raises a lot of questions in terms of what we should expect to see from our federal government when it comes to our gun rights here in Indiana. And listen, just like I always talk about here in Indiana when we're talking about a new legislative session, and hey, I've already been talking to legislators here in Indiana at the Indiana General Assembly about what we hope to accomplish in the Indiana General Assembly this year. And listen, we need to have an agenda in terms of offense. What bills do we want to see passed that either repeal or amend problematic anti-Second Amendment legislation that currently exists, and what bills do we want to see passed that enhance and actually expand or at least protect our Second Amendment rights? And those are the things we always want to talk about. But we ought to be talking about that now at the federal level. And listen, I've been very vocal. I've been in contact with our Indiana delegation that it will be in Congress, both in the Senate and the House of Representatives. And I do this on behalf of myself. I do this on behalf of our organization, the Two-Way Project. Second Amendment Project based here in Indiana, focused on Second Amendment rights, primarily in Indiana. But hey, to the extent federal legislation affects us here in Indiana, as it obviously does, then we need to be active and proactive and aggressive on those issues as well. So what should we be looking at here in terms of our Second Amendment rights as they affect us as legislation, as the government affects us here in Indiana? So we're obviously looking to Congress. We're looking to what can happen in the White House, and there's a lot that can happen from the White House, and what can happen in the Indiana General Assembly and Congress. And so there's a big focus on that. And listen, it's time to be proactive. It's time to be aggressive. We have a supermajority in the Indiana General Assembly, as we've had for some time, and we've gotten a lot of great things done. But we now have, we, meaning conservatives, and I'm sure people are out there right now rolling their eyes going, hold on, Republicans have a majority in Congress, in both the Senate and the House of Representatives, and we have now President-elect Trump going into the White House. And hopefully that translates into conservatives and pro-Second Amendment legislators, representatives of the people being in those offices as well. What should we hope for? What should be focused on? What should we be picking up the phone or getting on our email and communicating with legislators about? Being in contact with our elected representatives about? That's what I want to talk about here on the Gun Guy Show. But in the process, really want to hear from our listeners, as we always do. And I'm perhaps naively optimistic that our phone system will actually work and we can answer the calls and hear you. That was the problem, as producer Jack and I experienced here the last week or two, that you would call and we were excited to hear from you, and then lo and behold, we couldn't hear a damn thing when we tried to answer the phones. I am told that's fixed. But we want to hear from you in terms of, what do you expect to see? What do you hope to see accomplished at the state and federal level here on Second Amendment issues as we go into this next year? And it's a big year. It's a big year in Indiana. It's a big year at the federal level. The next 2 years, while Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House, it's a big couple of years, and we ought to be aggressive and optimistic about what we can accomplish, but we can't sit back and sit on our hands. That's what we're going to talk about here on the Gun Guy Show. Right now, we're at the three-quarter hour, a little late getting into the show because of IU with an awesome win over South Carolina. Glad to see that. By the way, if you're listening, congratulations to my DePaul Tigers. I am an alumnus of DePaul University over in Greencastle, Indiana. The oldest rivalry west of the Ivy League is the rivalry between DePaul University and Wabash College. And I played in 4 of those games way back when. No, we didn't have leather helmets without face masks, but it was pretty close to that time. And listen, today the DePaul Tigers were dominant. It was 42-21 was the final score. It wasn't really that close. I streamed it and watched it. Lo and behold, it was not on national TV, as disappointed as I was in that, but I was able to stream it. I watched it on my phone, and DePaul was completely dominant. They are currently 10-0. And I'm sure going into the Division III playoffs. So congratulations to my DePaul Tigers. I am a proud alumnus and former football player there, so glad to see that. In the meantime, give us a call. Tell us what you want to see accomplished at the federal and or the state level. Give us a call, 317-239-9393. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
More than 100 million wild animals are killed each year, illegally. Poaching is just one of the risks animals face at our hands. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor. I grew up in the beautiful rural countryside of Ohio, where animals roamed freely in the open forests. I have a deep concern to help preserve those open spaces for our wildlife friends so they can live and thrive like they used to. Destruction of their habitats threaten their very existence. The best way to protect wildlife is to protect the land where they live. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats, and establish permanent sanctuaries. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE. Or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Guy Relford for Indiana Gun Club. You know, Indiana Gun Club is Indiana's premier shotgun club. It's where I learned how to shoot sporting clays. They have trap, skeet, sporting clays, and 5-stand. They can host your corporate event, but more than anything, they are a fabulous place to go shoot sporting clays, trap, skeet, and 5-stand. What's sporting clays? A lot of people don't really appreciate what a great sport this is. Sporting clays, a lot of people describe it as golf with a golf with a shotgun. That is, you go from station to station. Everyone's different. And there are birds that go different directions, different speeds. It is so much fun. It's a great way for bird hunters to practice their sport. That's really where Sporting Clays came from. It was a way for bird hunters to practice their sport in the off season, and it's so much fun. When a clay bird just evaporates in front of your face when you hit it with that shotgun, it is one of the best experiences ever. I love it, and it's a great place to both learn and practice the great sport of shooting sporting clays and trap and skeet. Check them out. They're in Fishers, just a little bit east of Geist Reservoir on 113th Street. They're also, you can see all their information at indianagunclub.com. That's indianagunclub.com.
It's hard to keep track of all the health information that comes your way, but you still want to make the right decisions. Here's an easy one. Get tested for hepatitis C. It's a leading cause of liver cancer and often has no symptoms. People born from 1945 to 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. The good news is that now it can be cured. Talk with your doctor about getting a blood test for hepatitis C. Know for sure. A message from the CDC. Were you born from 1945 to 1965? Have you heard of hepatitis C? Hepatitis C is a leading cause of liver cancer, yet it often has no symptoms. And people born from 1945 to 1965 are 5 times more likely to have it. But here's some good news. Treatments are now available that can cure hepatitis C, which is why you should talk with your doctor about getting a blood test for hepatitis C. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Ah, the colors of fall. Orange.
Orange cone zone. Orange cones all over the place. This time on the north side.
Orange.
Orange barrels are up, restricting the far left lane and then switching to the right lane.
And orange.
Orange, you glad that I didn't say orange again? That's a little traffic humor.
When the colors of fall have you seen red, orange,
If I never see orange again.
turn to Matt Bear Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
Did you ever ride your bike with a clothespin and a baseball card? Or use a typewriter for a school paper? Then here's a timely alert. Americans born from 1945 to 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C, which often has no symptoms, but is a leading cause of liver cancer. The good news? Treatments are available that can cure hepatitis C. Talk with your doctor about getting a blood test for hepatitis C. Know for sure. A message from the CDC.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. And I'll tell you what, we got a bunch of callers already. Let's go right to the phone lines. And Buzz has called in, our old pal. Buzz, welcome to The Gun Guy Show. Welcome back, I should say. Oh, no.
Okay, I got one.
There we go. Now I
for
can
you.
hear you. Man, I thought we were going to have the same damn problems. All right, I'm sorry, Buzz. Go ahead, buddy. What you got for us?
First off, federally, we need reciprocity. He's already said it. I heard it come out of his mouth. That needs to be done.
Yeah, well, let's explain to our listeners, Buzz, what we mean by reciprocity. Reciprocity means that if I have a license to carry handgun in Indiana, that every other state, all other 49 states, have to recognize my license. So if I want to go to New York, New Jersey, California, Maryland, Connecticut, Hawaii, they have to recognize my license. That's what national reciprocity would mean. That could be accomplished with a bill in Congress. And you said he already has said he supports it. That means President Trump, and that's exactly right. He said that just last week that he supports national reciprocity. But what else you got there, brother?
Okay, state level, the red flag law.
Yeah. What are you saying? We need to repeal it? What are you saying about the red flag law?
I need not to repeal it, to add to it.
All right. How would you add to the red flag law?
You need to get a judge to show up at each one of them and confirm or deny that they're crazy or...
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Because
hey,
they're going to run into old codger like me, I'm not going to let my firearms go into their system and not get them back for months on end.
Yep. No, Buzz, hey, listen, amending the red flag law at the state level and national reciprocity at the federal level, those are two brilliant things to be focused on, and I'm glad you called. Let's go back to the phone lines, and Dan has called. Dan, welcome to the Gun Guy Show. Dan, you there, brother? Dan, you're snoozing on us, man. All right, let's go back to the phone lines, and I think it's Charlie. Charlie, welcome to the Gun Guy Show. What you got?
Hey, Guy. I don't know if you remember me. This is Charlie. We've sat out in front of your office and drank a few adult beverages and had a few cigars.
Charlie, and I believe your last name begins with a McMillan, if I remember.
No, Delta.
Oh, all right. I got you, brother. Oh, I'm sorry. I have had a cigar and a cocktail with a Charlie, with a different Charlie. But I'm sorry. You go right ahead. What do you got?
Well, Buzz actually kind of started, but I don't know. I'm just curious about the national reciprocity, or however you.
Yeah, reciprocity. Yep.
Yeah. So, is that? I mean, I understand he's got all branches of government, but how realistic is that could actually happen? I just wanted your opinion.
Well, it's a fabulous question, and a lot of 2A advocates like myself, and I'm sure you, Charlie, got excited when President Trump said he would sign a national reciprocity bill. But that bill first needs to get to his desk. And in order to do that, it needs to pass the House. Okay, well, Republicans have a slim majority, and we don't quite know what that majority is yet. There's still some contested races out there. As ridiculous as that is, these states, these districts can't actually get their votes counted within this many days. It's kind of stupid. But anyway, we have a majority, but then it's probably going to need 60 votes in the Senate. We still have this system, and it's, I get it. I understand why it's there. It can be a blessing or a curse, but to get things through the Senate and actually call a bill to vote and get past the debate stage and call it to vote, you need 60 votes. Can we get 60 votes for national reciprocity? I'm going to talk more about that after the break, brother, but it's a great question. We'll get more into that. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Is the American dream, but today's economy is challenging. Have you fallen behind on your mortgage payments? Many homeowners facing financial difficulty often feel lost and don't know where to turn for help. The airwaves are filled with offers of fast and simple relief. However, many find these offers often lead to damaged credit, higher debt, and ultimately the loss of one's home. If it seems like there's no way out, know there is legitimate help available. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling is a nonprofit organization that has provided answers and concrete solutions to consumers in situations just like yours for more than 60 years. Our certified housing specialists will work with you to review your finances and create a custom plan that's right for your specific situation. NFCC member agencies provide free and affordable help and meet U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development standards. Call 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org.
Hannah complained of a headache. It was a rhabdomyosarcoma. Within a few days, Hannah was in treatment because we were told that the tumor was very aggressive. And it very quickly became clear that St. Jude was the ultimate place to be. So we've essentially put our lives in South Africa on hold. Incredibly blessed to be here. St. Jude is an asset to the world. The research that is developed here is offered freely to the rest of the medical world. The entire way that the place operates is just to give and to care. I think it's the kind of place that not only stands as a beacon for pediatric cancer, but I think it could teach the world a couple of lessons about how to treat people. And I think if those lessons could be learned, even in their most basic form, this world could be a better place.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late, we stay informed, we invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
This afternoon for roles in the second Trump administration. Fox's Bill Malutian reports from West Palm Beach, Florida.
We got the announcement out of Mar-a-Lago that Donald Trump is selecting Chris Wright to be his energy secretary. That is an important position that holds responsibility over the nation's thousands of nuclear weapons, amongst other responsibilities. So there you have it, Chris Wright. Another announcement out of Mar-a-Lago, President-elect Trump announcing that one of his attorneys, Will Scharf, will serve as White House staff secretary. That's an important position that holds a lot of power. It's essentially a gatekeeper for a bunch of the documents that'll come through the White House, including executive orders. So these announcements, as we get later into the day, are starting to pump out of Mar-a-Lago.
President-elect Trump has not yet named his choice for energy secretary. In Peru, China's President Xi Jinping told President Biden that China is ready to work with a new administration as President-elect Trump prepares to take office.
It's not often the President of the United States makes an international trip and is not the guest of honor, and that's been afforded to Chinese President Xi Jinping. As Biden went to his hotel, China's president was feted at the state palace, the presidential palace, in the honor of a state visit, complete with a military honor guard and more red carpet. No question Biden's lame duck status playing a role here. Now, while at the palace, President Xi and Peru's president watched on a live feed the opening of China's new $1.3 billion megaport 2 hours north of where I'm standing here in Lima. Total Chinese investment is expected to top $3.5 billion over the next decade.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reporting from the APEC Economic Summit in Peru. Japan's foreign minister has arrived in Kyiv to discuss North Korea's military alliance with Russia. America's listening to Fox News.
Will Kane had you covered this election.
Brett Baer joins us now. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy joining us on The Will Kane Show. Tommy Lahren joins us now.
It's the new must-listen podcast in America.
I think Sanity, I'm hoping, is going to win today.
What they did was the biggest miscarriage of democracy, I think, in my lifetime.
I see a victory for Donald Trump. I see a victory for America.
The Will Kane Show. Listen and watch now at WillKaneShow.com. From the Fox News Podcasts Network, the Fox News Rundown, a contrast of perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. Your daily dose of news twice a day, going far beyond the headlines, tapping into the massive reporting resources of Fox News to provide a full picture of the news of the day.
I'm Dana Perino.
I'm Brett Baer.
I'm Maria Bartiromo.
I'm Brian Kilmeade, and this is the Fox News Rundown.
Subscribe and listen now by going to foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts. 93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Inking a new deal. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending this hour. Indiana University head football coach Curt Cignetti has signed a new contract with the school.
And that makes him one of the highest paid coaches in the Big Ten and the highest paid IU employee ever. I'm John Herrick in Bloomington. It runs through November of 2032, and it has an average annual compensation of $8 million, as well as an additional $1 million retention bonus. The Hoosiers are off to a 10-0 start this fall, which is the best in school history, and they are ranked 5th in the country. Reporting in Bloomington, John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A Southwest Airlines plane that was destined for Indianapolis was apparently hit by a bullet in Dallas Friday night. The plane had been getting ready to depart Dallas Love Field Airport for the Circle City. According to the company, it was hit on the right side just under the flight deck. Thankfully, no one was hurt and everyone on board was moved to a different flight. Local police are currently investigating. But if you are considering a career in teaching, you can apply for the Next Generation Hoosier Educator Scholarship. State Representative Jake Teschka of North Liberty is a fan of it.
This Next Generation Hoosier Educator Scholarship is such a unique opportunity for Indiana to invest in our future teachers. I encourage any student who's interested to apply today.
Apply at scholartrack.che.in.gov. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Tonight, mostly cloudy, low temperatures in the lower 40s, and for Sunday, temperatures slightly warmer, mostly cloudy, highs in the lower 60s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
We know that around the holidays, things don't always go as planned. That's why Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles, the best warranty around. So make memories this season in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Shop drivehubler.com or any of our 12 locations. Every Hubler Q certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and includes a 128-point vehicle inspection, plus a free Carfax history report. Choose from over 2,000 Chevys, Fords, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and many more. All makes and models. Certified luxury, even the hard-to-find ones. No matter where your plans take you, spread cheer all season long, knowing Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. Happy holidays, Indiana. Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 12 locations. Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Save $40 before the holidays with Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129, plus $75 off duct cleaning too. ZeroResIndy.com.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I would say hour number 2. It's not quite hour number 2. We got a late start after the IU South Carolina basketball game. But hey, great win by the IU Hoosiers. And it's a privilege to see them not only play well, but to hear them here on WIBC. So we're talking about what we want to accomplish legislatively here in the next year. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be excited. And there's no reason why we shouldn't not only be optimistic, but aggressive in accomplishing what we need to accomplish to protect and promote gun rights for American citizens, including Hoosiers right here at home. At the federal level, you know what my first priority is? My first priority is to get Stephen Michael Diedelbach. Do you know that name? Is that name familiar to you? That's the current administrator of the ATF. We need to send him off to do some liberal job for the Democrat Party that has nothing to do whatsoever with regulating your Second Amendment rights and my Second Amendment rights. His leadership of the ATF has been a nightmare. And frankly, the operation of the ATF, the movement of the ATF, the rulemaking by the ATF for the entire 4 years of the Biden administration has been a nightmare. And listen, let's start with a little honesty here. It starts to some degree before the Biden administration started. Because President Trump, as enthusiastic as I was in voting for President Trump, and as absolutely thrilled as I am, listen, I stayed up all night. I stayed up all night until I watched the acceptance speech, the victory speech by President Trump, even though Kamala hadn't conceded yet. It was very apparent President Trump was going to win. I stayed up all night because I was so invested. I was so excited about the idea of President Trump winning that election. and putting the Biden administration aside, putting Kamala's potential presidency aside, I'm way excited, way enthused. At the same time, we have to acknowledge that President Trump did something during his administration that was very, very harmful to Second Amendment rights. And listen, I'm hoping that he learned a lesson from this. I'm hoping that those close to him, including those people that are most supportive of our Second Amendment rights, are whispering in his ear and talking to him about this. But after the Las Vegas shooting, the most horrific mass shooting in U.S. history, so I understand all the emotion. I understand the need to feel like we're, quote unquote, doing something after that shooting. But because a bump stock or multiple bump stocks were allegedly used in that shooting, President Trump came out and said, bump stocks are gone. That's it. I'm telling the ATF to make them illegal. And then the NRA jumped right on board. The NRA said in a public statement, and this is pretty close to a quote, I'll call it a paraphrase, but it's pretty damn close to an exact quote. NRA said, we are inviting the ATF to reconsider the legality of bump stocks. And listen, if you don't know what a bump stock is, just very quickly, it's a stock you put on a rifle or a pistol, theoretically, and depending on how we're defining pistols these days, but you put it on there and it essentially facilitates the process by which the gun bounces off your shoulder. And if you just hold your trigger finger steady, rigid in one position, as the gun bounces off your shoulder, your rigid trigger finger allows you to pull that trigger very quickly. And you can simulate, to some degree, automatic fire out of a semi-automatic firearm. And listen, I've always thought bump stocks were stupid. If you show up to my rifle class and you get a bump stock on your firearm, I'm going to make fun of you. You're sacrificing accuracy for rate of fire, which, unless you're in a zombie apocalypse, I think is stupid. But that's not the point. And listen, both NRA and President Trump and his advisors, I'm sure, said, listen, let's sacrifice bump stocks. And I get the logic behind this. I totally understand the logic behind this. Let's sacrifice bump stocks because no legitimate gun person, firearms instructor, person who is serious about their firearm rights really cares much about bump stocks. So let's sacrifice bump stocks because they were very concerned about what the reaction in Congress and at the state level could potentially be to this horrific, incredibly horrific mass shooting in Las Vegas. Still the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. They were very worried about a quote-unquote assault weapon ban. And don't send me comments about assault weapon being a political term. I make that point every time the term comes up here on the show. But they're very worried about a broad ban of semi-automatic firearms with detachable magazines, what some people call assault weapons, when they're trying to demonize the most commonly owned rifles in America. And so they said, well, let's just give them bump stocks. And I get that. I understand the logic behind that. And you can look back and say it worked because there was not an assault weapon ban that came out of Congress. There certainly were at the state level, but Congress didn't pass an assault weapon. So you can say that was a victory. All we had to do was sacrifice these silly bump stocks, and we didn't give up anything else in terms of our Second Amendment rights. And a lot of people would call that a victory. I did not. And I was critical of President Trump at the time. I was critical of the NRA. Because the precedent that it set had nothing really to do with bump stocks. As goofy as I think bump stocks are, the point is that what President Trump did is he told the ATF, an administrative agency that is not, according to our founders, according to the vesting clause of Article 1 of the Constitution, it says the legislative power shall be vested in a Congress consisting of a Senate and a House of Representatives. So the body of government at the federal level is supposed to pass laws to make things legal or illegal, is supposed to be Congress. It's not supposed to be an administrative agency. That's a fundamental concept of separation of powers that we have in this country. That's one of the most important things to preserve liberty in this country. Go back and read the Federalist Papers. And they will tell you explicitly that separation of powers is what preserves freedom in this country. And telling an administrative agency, which is part of the executive branch, not the legislative, the executive, to essentially pass a law that makes something illegal that was legal before is a fundamental mistake. As much as I think bump stocks are stupid, and I could care less whether they were ever invented to begin with or available today, it was a horrible precedent to say, let's empower an administrative agency. And listen, this is not a new thing. If you're rolling your eyes right now and say, oh my God, Guy, you unfamiliar with the EPA and the IRS and any number of the untold legislative agencies, or executive agencies that exist out there that have been creating regulations that can affect your life, as I posted on social media, that can take your assets, can close your business, can put you in prison. What, have you not been paying attention? No, I get it. But in the area of Second Amendment rights, it was a horrible precedent because we're talking about taking something associated with firearms that is clearly falls within the definition of an arm, that is something associated with bearable weapons. And it was legal before, and we're making it illegal now, and we're only doing that through an administrative agency. In the area of Second Amendment rights, that was a horrible decision, as much as I could care less about bump stocks. And that happened under Trump's watch, and it was a mistake. I understand why he did it, and a lot of people could say it was a victory because broader bans were not passed by Congress at the time. But you know what I said about NRA, and you probably have heard me say this before if you listen to the Gun Guy Show. I posted on social media. I said, dear NRA, when the wolves are at the door, you do not throw them a scrap of meat and expect them to go away. You just get more wolves. And what was my point? My point was there is no anti-Second Amendment group out there, whether it's Moms Demand Action or the Giffords Center or Violence Policy Coalition or any of these groups out there trying to strip your Second Amendment rights. They're going to take what you give them and go, oh, okay, that's awesome. We're done now. We are satiated. There's nothing else we want in terms of gun control. They don't go away. That only ratchets in one direction. They say, there's a win. Now we're going to take that win and we're going to build on it. And what do we see from the ATF then on the heels of the bump stock ban? What do we see throughout the 4 years of the Biden administration? I'm halfway expecting to see more in the next month and a half. That's what we'll get into. We're a little past the quarter hour. It's time to take a break. We'll talk more about what the ATF did without the involvement of Congress whatsoever. And they did it on that precedent to say, well, ATF banned bump stocks, which, by the way, the Supreme Court of the United States has now said exceeded their authority as an executive agency. But what else did we see? We'll talk more about that and continue to take your calls. We're on YouTube, and people are on there and chatting away in the chat feature on YouTube. So you go to YouTube, search for 93 WIBC. You'll see the show come up. But right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Republicans will retain control of the House after flipping the White House and Senate.
93 WIBC.
Next week, it's the G20 summit in Brazil.
Hear the news.
The NFL Scouting Combine is staying in Indianapolis through 2026, 39th consecutive year in Indianapolis.
Another news update is minutes away.
The Indiana Pacers.
The Pacers, disastrous fourth quarter, and they lose it 94-90.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Guy Relford for Rock Op Defense Solutions. You know, we've got a manufacturer of absolutely high-end, premier fighting rifles right here in central Indiana, located in Avon. It's Rock Op Defense Solutions. These folks are making some of the finest AR platform rifles you will find anywhere in America. I know, I own one, and I've already shot it a lot. I've already had it accessorized. I've already gone back and modified it, made it an SBR, and I did that with the help of my friends at Rock Op Defense Solutions. You need to check them out on what's available. They can not only supply you with a rifle, they can upgrade your current rifle. They can supply you with accessories, including, as I got from them, my optics. I got a beautiful ACOG 3.5 X fixed power optic that I put on my Rod 15, and it's a beautiful optic. It's a great combination of features that I wanted on my rifle. They work with me to customize my exact rifle that I wanted, and I'll tell you what, I've owned a lot of AR-15 platform rifles in my lifetime. This is at the top of the list, and I love that they're located right here in central Indiana in Avon. Check them out at rock-opdefense.com. That's rock-opdefense.com.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good?
Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Learn how to get Comcast Business Internet and Security Edge plus Wi-Fi backup for $59 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement when you add Comcast Business Unlimited Mobile. And ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 11/17/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabit per second internet, Security Edge, and Wi-Fi backup. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at Universal Windows Direct. And we're headed into winter, and you don't want to be stuck with old, drafty windows making your heating system work overtime. Universal Windows Direct is here to keep you warm and save you money on those energy bills. And right now, what a great deal going on with Universal Windows Direct. For every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. There's no limit. Oh, and on top of that, Universal Windows Direct is offering 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years, interest-free. Now, some restrictions do apply, so to get all the information, call today at 317-659-7574. 317-659-7574. Oh, yeah, and Universal Windows Direct backs their windows with a true lifetime warranty. That means your windows are covered for as long as you own your home. And if you ever decide to sell, the warranty transfers to the next homeowner for 20 years. Universal Windows Direct, 317-659-7574. Tell them Rob sent you.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show next Saturday and Sunday at the Delaware County Fairgrounds in Muncie. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. Next Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Delaware County Fairgrounds in Muncie. For more info, visit centralindianagunshows.com.
PA Jewelers is your must-shop store for Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. PA Jewelers already has fine jewelry and gemstones discounted 70% below the box stores. Now, on Black Friday and Small Business Saturday, you get 10% off everything PA Jewelers sells. Estate jewelry, watches, and jewelry from local artists. Visit PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, 317-858-3030 or online at premierarms.com.
It's JMV and Miss M's Home and Gardens fall sale continues. 30 to 50% off all trees and shrubs in stock. State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
Friendly reminder to change your filter. Head on over to our website at familyhvac.net for some of the best pricing on filters around.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit indyhumane.org.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIPC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So what do I put on number one on my list? At the federal level, it's not as sexy as national reciprocity. I get that. I actually have a slight preference about national reciprocity I'll get into here in a minute. It's not as obvious to a lot of pro two-way people. But my number one agenda is to replace Administrator Diedelbach of the ATF with someone who's passionate about Second Amendment rights. And we'll go in and reverse all the things the ATF either did or attempted to do in the last 4 years. And what do we see from them? And it's a long damn list. The so-called ghost gun ban. It did much more than just ban so-called ghost guns, guns manufactured by individuals that don't have to have a serial number on them. It basically inhibited a lot of people who had legitimate businesses selling gun parts and said, oh no, you have to be treated just like someone who actually sells completed guns simply because you sell parts. The horrific issue we went through with pistol braces. What's that? It's a brace that goes on a pistol that the ATF came out and reversed. Something it'd been saying for 10 years that does not turn a pistol into a rifle. And if it has a barrel less than 16 inches, it's still a pistol. That's fine. Putting a brace on it because a brace does not make it does not redesign it into a firearm designed to be fired from the shoulder, which is the definition of a rifle. Therefore, if it's got a shorter barrel on it, you don't have to go register it, spend $200 and register it as a rifle, a short barrel rifle, or else face 10 years in federal prison. And even though the ATF have been telling us that for 10 years, under the Biden administration, they said, oh, well, never mind, we've changed our mind, and now you have to register your pistol. We've been telling you was legal for 10 years. You now have to go do that, or you're looking at 10 years in federal prison. And it goes on and on. You know, the so-called forced reset triggers. They came out and said they're legal, and all of a sudden you started getting individual ATF offices across the country start saying, oh, no, we changed our mind. Now we think they make your gun a machine gun, and if it's not registered as a machine gun, we're going to put you in prison. But it's not even just that. It's the approach to your Second Amendment rights the ATF has taken over the last 4 years. And listen, I have a lot of friends. I could sit here easily and list you 10 people who are personal friends of mine, dear friends of mine, that own gun shops. Some of them were dear friends of mine before they were ever gun shop owners. Some I've gotten to know since then. But they will tell you that ATF, so there's two real, more than two, but the two primary departments or functions of ATF. One is enforcement. They're the door kickers. They're the ones that come out with body armor on that will kick your door in and come put you in jail, come seize your assets. But there's also the regulatory function that what they call industry operations. And they're the folks that will go out to gun shops and they'll just make sure they're complying with the laws and the regulations. And there are a lot of, they're untold. It's exhausting. I think you have to have a law degree to own a gun shop anymore. But just to make sure you're complying with all the rules and all the regulations, you're keeping the records the way they're supposed to be kept, you're doing everything the way you're supposed to be doing it under the laws and regulations of this country. ATF, for decades and decades, the industry operations people within ATF, their goal, their self-defined mission was to help gun owners stay on the right side of the law. They were literally there to help. If you didn't keep your records, you were selling guns without background checks, you were selling guns without the requisite paperwork, all right, they'll revoke your license, and in an extreme case, they may refer you to the enforcement guys that'll show up with body armor and kick your door in. But for the most part, their mentality was they were there to help. Under the Biden administration, that completely changed. And I've talked to industry operations, ATF people who have said, I don't really want to do this job anymore because I've been told by my bosses now that my job is to find some reason to put FFLs, that's Federal Firearms Licensees, those are people that own gun stores. It's my job to find some excuse to put people out of business, to revoke their federal firearms license, to put them out of business. If I put them in jail in the process, well, that's a benefit, that's a bonus, but to put them out of business, that's the mission. And I've talked to people who have said, I don't want to do that job. That's not the job I signed up for. That's the mentality. At the FBI, part of the Department of Justice, also part of the executive branch. What I handle all the time is appeals of people who have been denied gun purchases through NICS and ICS, what is their abbreviation for the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. For the last 4 years, I've noticed this increasing trend. They don't care if they get it wrong. I do expungements for people. I love doing expungements. We can wipe, for instance, a felony conviction, not all felonies, but a lot of felonies. We can wipe them off somebody's record and restore their gun rights. And under the Biden administration, somebody gets denied a gun purchase, even after they've had their conviction expunged, we go back and they say, no, you're wrong. You missed the fact this has been expunged. And we have to fight tooth and nail with these people. They know they're wrong on the law, and we always win eventually. But for the last 4 years, it's gotten worse and worse and worse because these people, I swear, someone high up in the FBI running NICS has said, screw these people over at every opportunity. These are people going into gun stores, filling out the form, giving up their ID, passing a background check, trying to do it the right way. They're not buying a gun out of somebody's trunk in a back alley. They're doing it the right way. And the FBI is going out of their way to screw them in any way possible. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I've met with the Indiana Attorney General's office talking about suing them because they're intentionally violating people's Second Amendment rights. So, to wrap that discussion up, whether it's FBI doing background checks as part of gun purchases, or it's ATF regulating firearm shops, as well as passing these ridiculous regulations that, frankly, only Congress should be able to pass, that take something that was legal before and make it illegal after. That's legislation. It's not regulation. It's legislation. If they change their interpretation of a law, the way they enforce it through their quote-unquote regulations, and can put you in prison. Bump stock ban did that. The pistol brace ban did that. The ghost gun regulation did that. Their interpretation on forced reset triggers can certainly do that. That's unconstitutional. It's not part of regulation. It's part of legislation. And I want to see a reversal of that because that can affect millions and millions and millions of gun owners right here in Indiana and all across the country. My number one priority, and it's not as sexy as what a lot of people want to talk about, reversing this ridiculous trend of allowing this fourth branch of government that our founders never intended, that is administrative agencies, executive agencies, that can interpret their own regulations, pass their own regulations, and then put you in prison. That's all three branches of government right there in one executive agency, legislative, judicial, and executive, all in one. That's the antithesis of freedom. As interpreted by our founders, that's why we have separation of powers. I want to see a reversal of that. I want to see it in the 2A area, obviously, as I'm going through. I want to see that all across. And I posted on this on both Twitter and Facebook this last week. I want to see this government to have as its priority whittling away at this ridiculous, unconstitutional fourth branch of government that our founder never intended, and start putting the power back in those branches of government. If it's legislative, it belongs in Congress. If it's judicial, it belongs in the courts. And only if it's enforcement, interpretation and enforcement, okay, I'll give them that much, then it belongs in the executive. Interpretation up to a point, and a very minimal point, before it becomes judicial. That's what our founders put in place to preserve freedom in this country. That's my number one priority. I'm going to leave that behind, go back to the phone lines, and also solicit additional comments from you. What do you want to see accomplished now that we have President Trump going back into the White House, a majority in the Senate, a majority in the House of Representatives, and a supermajority here in Indiana? What do you want to see accomplished? Give us a call, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Ah, the colors of fall. Orange.
Orange cone zone. Orange cones all over the place. This time on the north side.
Orange.
Orange barrels are up, restricting the far left lane and then switching to the right lane.
And orange.
Aren't you glad that I didn't say orange again? That's a little traffic humor.
When the colors of fall have you seen red, orange.
If I never see orange again.
Turn to Matt Baird Traffic. Mornings and afternoons on 93 WIBC.
We know that around the holidays, things don't always go as planned. That's why Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles, the best warranty around. So make memories this season in a Hubler quality pre-owned vehicle. Shop drivehubler.com or any of our 12 locations. Every Hubler Q certified vehicle is covered by a 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty and includes a 128-point vehicle inspection, plus a free Carfax history report. Choose from over 2,000 Chevys, Fords, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and many more. All makes and models. Certified. Luxury, even the hard-to-find ones. No matter where your plans take you, spread cheer all season long, knowing Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. Happy holidays, Indiana. Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 12 locations. Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Maintenance is going to drastically increase the efficiency and performance of your system. It's also going to significantly improve the longevity of it. People think that they are saving money by skipping their maintenance, and in reality, they're just shaving years off the life and increasing the consumption of that unit, spending a lot more in the long term.
Get your tune-up today at Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You've got a Pepto predicament, moviegoer.
Hey, I can hear your stomach grumbling.
Sorry, I ate that entire tub of popcorn with extra butter.
You overdid it, and now your movie has turned into a blockbuster bellyache. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto Chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief, so you can focus on the action on the big screen instead of in your stomach. When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Family Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer in Indianapolis.
Fox News, I'm Roger Stern. President Biden is in Peru, where he's having his last presidential meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Biden saying he and Xi helped avoid conflict by always telling each other hard truths.
Our conversations have always been candid and always been frank. We have never kidded one another.
President-elect Trump has chosen fracking company CEO Chris Wright as his energy secretary. Meanwhile, Trump may face a fight against some of his fellow Republicans in the Senate over other cabinet nominations.
Here's a few of them. Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, RFK Jr. for HHS Secretary, Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense, and Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence.
Fox's Bill Malugin. America is listening to Fox News.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good?
Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Learn how to get Comcast Business Internet and Security Edge plus Wi-Fi backup for $59 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement when you add Comcast Business Unlimited Mobile. And ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 11/17/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabit per second internet, security edge, and Wi-Fi backup. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Hey guys, it's Rob Kendall. Give back November 21st at Hi-Fi. Get tickets to a celebrity bartender toast to Moselle Sanders, powered by Jack Daniels. A night of community, Jack Daniels cocktails, and fighting food insecurity. Sample signature cocktails crafted by celebrity bartenders, all working to help raise $10,000 to feed 10,000 people this Thanksgiving through the Moselle Sanders Foundation. Tickets start at $20, with all proceeds benefiting Moselle Sanders Foundation's mission to support families in need. Get tickets at hifiindy.com.
Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Let's go to the phone lines. And, my buddy Kelly in Avon's been on hold for a while. Kelly, man, welcome back.
Hey, Guy. It's good to hear from you.
You too, sir.
Well, I guess I'm going to start with what I'd like to see at the state level.
You bet.
Of course, you know what I'm going to say. Nance v. State getting fixed needs a hearing in the House.
Let's tell people what that is, Kelly. And I'll tell you what. I think I can do a Reader's Digest version here real quick. There's a case in Indiana that says merely pointing your gun at someone but to protect your property is the equivalent of deadly force. And deadly force is not allowed. Now, I'm not talking about your home. I'm just talking about like your business, your car, your wallet. You cannot point your gun at someone, according to the Court of Appeals of Indiana, under this Nance versus State case, in order to protect your mere property, your personal property, not your home. That's different. That's Castle Doctrine. And we've had a bill now, 3 different legislatures, Kelly? We've tried to fix that.
Yes, it is. To my knowledge, it's passed the Senate 3 times, and as I've testified on it, and it's a real easy bill to testify on. It's about 4 pages long. And
yeah, as have I.
It's about a page and a half, really.
Yeah. And we can't get it out of Wendy McNamara's committee, which is the Courts and Criminal Code Committee in the House.
Yeah, I am hoping with the other co-director of government affairs for the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association, who is very familiar with the people who work down there at 200 West Washington.
Yes.
Hoping he can go in and shake some hands and kiss some babies and do what he does on his side of it.
Yeah, no, Kelly, and I agree with that priority. And brother, and thanks so much. Kelly, if you don't know who Kelly is, he's the co-director of legislative affairs at the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association. But that's a fairly recent appointment for him or job that he's taken on, even long before he held that position. Kelly is a guy, and by the way, a loyal member of the 2A Project, but Kelly would show up at any time there was a Second Amendment related bill going on in the General Assembly. Kelly would show up and he would testify, and he would come in with so much logic and facts and statistics, information to back up his position. It was really compelling. It was really effective. And Indiana gun owners owe Kelly a great big debt of gratitude because of the work he's put in to help pass some really important bills here in Indiana. And, I get, people say nice things about what I've done in that area, and Kelly's been right there shoulder to shoulder for a long time. But I agree with that. We need to fix that. And what we're talking about here is, for instance, where this really originated, during the Summer of Love, as Hammer and Nigel like to refer to it as, with all the riots going on and the destruction of businesses, if under the current law of Indiana, if I'm standing out in front of my business, let's say I own the beautiful little the beautiful little jewelry store right around the corner from the studio here on South Meridian, and if somebody's walking up to throw a Molotov cocktail through the window of my business, now they're not threatening me. That's an important distinction, because you can defend yourself, you can defend your life. You can defend yourself from serious bodily injury. That's what we're talking about. Let's say I'm standing out in front of my business and someone is not threatening me. They just want to burn my business to the ground. If I point my gun at them and say, "Nah, not my business," I'm committing a felony under the law of the state of Indiana. Because as interpreted by the Indiana courts in this Nance v. State decision, that I cannot point my gun at someone merely to protect my personal property, and your business is considered your personal property. Now, again, I'm not talking about your home. Your home has a unique standing under Indiana law. That's Castle Doctrine. But your business, and same as my car. I'm standing out in front of my car, and listen, I like my car. It's getting kind of old, getting a lot of miles on it, but it's still my favorite car I've ever owned. If somebody comes walking up to that with a crowbar in their hand, and they're going to just beat the hell and, beat my car to a pulp, and I'm not in it, I'm standing outside my car, because you can defend your occupied motor vehicle, but I'm not talking about that. I just say, hey, leave my car alone. If they want to ignore me and destroy my car, again, douse it with gasoline and light it on fire. Now, I'm not in it, and they're not threatening me. That's an important distinction. If I point my gun at them and say, get the hell away from my car, I'm committing a felony. Me, I go to jail. That's not right. It's even more compelling to me in the context of your business. You've put your life's blood into this. You've sweat and tears for generations to build a business. Somebody is going to destroy your business. I can't point my gun and say, leave my business alone, to deter them from destroying my business. And listen, we've had a bill to fix that now 3 different times. I've testified over and over and over again, and we can't get it out of Wendy McNamara's committee in the House of Representatives in the Indiana General Assembly. That's not okay, and that's why I like Kelly's priority on that. I'm going to talk more about what I want to get accomplished. We'll go back to the phone line at least one more time here for our last segment, a little bit short of a show, but we got more in than I thought. I really thought we weren't going to start till after 6, and we started just a little bit after 5:30. I'll talk more about what we want to accomplish this session, both in Congress and in the Indiana State House, when we come back. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Republicans will retain control of the House after flipping the White House and the Senate.
93 WIBC.
Next week, it's the G20 summit in Brazil.
Hear the news.
The NFL Scouting Combine is staying in Indianapolis through 2026, 39th consecutive year in Indianapolis.
Another news update is minutes away.
The Indiana Pacers.
The Pacers, disastrous fourth quarter, and they lose it 94-90.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Guy Relford for the law offices of Guy Relford. You know, we do a lot at the law office to fight for your Second Amendment rights. We will appeal your denial of a purchase of a handgun, or any firearm, if that's contrary to the law. A lot of times the government just tries to bully you into letting that go by, and there's an appeals process. We help clients with that all the time. There's something on your record we could potentially expunge and or restore your rights after that conviction. We do that a lot at the law office, something we really enjoy doing. If you've had someone tell you can't legally possess a firearm, you've been denied a gun purchase, you've been denied your Indiana license to carry handgun, give us a call. Contact us through the website. It's relfordlaw.com, relfordlaw.com. We'll have set up a consultation, be able to tell you whether there's anything we can do to help. And for an awful lot of people, it's a big part of what we do. There's a lot we can do to help. Check us out at relfordlaw.com.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce.
If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. Call now at 800-810-1820. 800-810-1820. 800-810-1820. That's 800-810-1820.
You've got a Pepto predicament, moviegoer.
Hey, I can hear your stomach grumbling.
Sorry, I ate that entire tub of popcorn with extra butter.
You overdid it, and now your movie has turned into a blockbuster bellyache. Undo it with Pepto.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Pepto chewables provide fast 5-symptom relief, so you can focus on the action on the big screen instead of in your stomach. When you overdo it, undo it with Pepto. Use as directed to keep out of reach of children.
Planning to propose this holiday? Shane Company is ready to help you find your dream engagement ring. We handpick the most beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones in all shapes and sizes. So when you walk in the door, you can trust your rock is in stock. At Shane Company, we've always sourced directly, cut out the middleman, and pass the savings on to you. We work with your budget, not against it. We'll also protect your ring for life with our free unmatched lifetime warranty. Come see us at shaneco.com and in-store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
One of the real advantages that we have here at Hendricks is the scope of the services that we have to offer in orthopedics.
Whether they have a hip fracture or they're a high-functioning athlete, we're all working towards the same thing.
To have them be able to have an elective surgery safely and then go home also in a safe fashion is of utmost importance.
We very much want everyone to get back to doing everything that they're doing beforehand. We're really invested in it.
Unstoppable orthopedic care. Learn more at hendricks.org/ortho.
Miss M's Home and Garden and Sundown Gardens fall sale is still on. 30 to 50% off all trees and shrubs in stock. It's a great time to finish up your landscape for next year, and if you're ready to start interior holiday decorating, they have you covered. Stop in and shop those stunning displays filled with the best quality Christmas decor. Holiday open houses are coming the weekend before Thanksgiving. Miss M's in Bargersville on State Road 135 south of Whiteland Road. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIPC.com. Now you've got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIPC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I'll tell you what, we've got, Jeff's been on hold forever. Jeff, let's go quickly. We don't have a lot of time in this segment, but Jeff, you've been on hold. What do you want to see done in Congress or at the state level?
Oh my gosh. Hey, listen, I appreciate you and I appreciate what you do for our Second Amendment.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Here's what I got. Do you remember who the first president was? George Washington. Do you remember who the vice president was? It was John Adams.
Yeah, there you go.
And he was the president of the Senate. He was the president of the Senate. Okay? So now,
and the vice president is the president of the Senate today.
Oh, no, he cast the last vote. But here, in 1925, I believe it was elected that our first majority leader came. I don't like the majority leader part of that. I think that if you were in the presidency, that you should be able to have your – see, what's happened is, like, if you get someone like Schumer or Mitch, right, and you get in there and you have the majority leader of the House – you may not be following your president. So am I wrong here? And I know that this is not your specialty, but
no, brother. There's in the House of Representatives, the speaker is elected by the members of the House. In the Senate, the vice president has always been the vice president of the United States has always been the vice president of the Senate. And here, when we had a tie or close to a tie of senators, Republican and Democrat in the Senate, who would come in and break that tie, and did it, oh gosh, I want to say a dozen or more times. It was Kamala Harris as vice president of the United States. So the vice president comes in and breaks a tie in the Senate, and is because the vice president is president of the Senate. And that's been that way going back, I believe, to the founding. But listen, let me tell you at the state level what I want to really accomplish. And and Kelly's point about allowing you to protect your business, your other property, in a non-lethal way, simply pointing your firearm as a way of deterring people. Now, listen, I teach tactical classes, and there's a big question about should you ever point your gun at someone when you can't legally shoot them? That's a whole separate question. But as someone who does that, I don't think they should be put in jail for a felony. That's my point. In addition, the red flag law, we have at least one, if not two callers mention the red flag law. And then there's a couple of serious flaws about this. And I mentioned these. One great thing about my job, especially not only on my show, but I come in and fill in for Hammer or Nigel, depending on who's not there that day, and come in and do my Monday Gun Day segment. I was here not so long ago when we had a governor-elect, Mike Braun, in the studio. And he was talking about red flag laws. He got misquoted about his position on red flag laws. And one of the things he did here in the studio was correct the record on that. While we had him on the air, right here in the studio, I said, at the time, Senator, there's some things that are wrong with our red flag law. And listen, I've been working hard on fixing this stuff. I helped rewrite the red flag law in 2019, and we changed the definition of dangerous. That's huge. It was a huge benefit. We put much more due process in it than ever existed before. But here's the problem that endures with the red flag law. Do you know it's a civil proceeding? It's a proceeding to seize your firearms from you. You don't go to jail under the red flag law, so it's not a criminal statute. Because it's civil in nature, do you know you have no right to counsel? You can lose your Second Amendment rights. You can lose a constitutional freedom. If you can't afford a lawyer, you just don't get a lawyer. Do you know how many people get found to be, quote unquote, dangerous under the red flag law who were never represented? A huge proportion. There's another huge problem. Do you know, even if a judge finds you not dangerous, or initially, let's say you're found dangerous, then you hire a lawyer, you come back requested a new hearing, which you can do after 180 days. You have a new hearing and a judge says, you know what, you're right, you're not dangerous. Do you know that stays on your criminal history forever? Even though it's not a criminal proceeding, somebody does a background check on you, that will come up. It will come up that you were accused to be dangerous, even if once you were found to be not dangerous. We need to be able to expunge that. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here is a great idea. Donate your car now and help local veterans in your area. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program, and within a few days we will come and remove your car for